So we're going to do things a little differently today. I don't have a full presentation to show you because I want you to get interactive with what we're doing here today. This today is all about the pitch, the 1 minute pitch, and how to put it together easily, effectively, and tell what you need to tell. So let's start it off with what is a pitch. I'm going to start off with, let's see, Afan. Afan, what is a pitch to you?
Yeah, so I think to me, pitch is a communication, of course. So it can be so many things. It can be a document, it can be actually me speaking, it can be a recording, whatever. But I think it's a communication between someone who is trying to provide a product or a service and someone who is maybe willing or may not be willing also, but there is a chance of that person taking that product or service. So pitch is that communication. At least to me, that's the, I don't know, simplest.
Listen, this is all on how we try to figure out the language ourselves together. Andrew, where would we use a pitch?
I would probably use a pitch when networking with other companies to get my company's name out there and kind of a quick spiel on how I would sell my company.
Okay. So, according to me, a pitch is really to present or advertise, to attempt to persuade somebody to do something. And it's usually high pressure all around because it's usually done in a short amount of time, and you've got to make it happen there and try to get this person interested and then go away and leave them wanting to know more of who you are and what you're about and all this other stuff. So what is the most important element of the pitch? Bernie.
Saying it quick, concise, simply, to the point, but find something memorable. So if a story can be embedded inside it, even better, because that makes it stick. If it doesn't stick, there was no point.
So that's close. That's the second most important thing.
Oh.
The first most important thing is, who are you talking to? If you don't know your audience, you cannot tell them the pitch in the way that they want to hear it. Otherwise, they won't listen to you. They can't relate to it. You can try a spaghetti method of throwing a bunch of different things at different people and seeing what sticks. But usually, when you only have one shot, it's best to know who you're talking to, so that way you're able to tell them in the language that they need to hear. So, close. Now, humans evolved in a certain way that we love stories. So, why do we love them? Margaret Ann.
Why do we love them? Because I'm curious. I'm interested in learning new things.
Absolutely. Stories are a historical passage of information that we've used since time immemorial. And at this point, it's integrated within our brains that when somebody starts telling a story, we start engaging not only our mind, our sight, our hearing, we start engaging all parts of our body, our sensation, and we try to get into the feet of the character of the story. And if that character is designed with our problems and with the problems that we're facing today, we get even more involved into that system. So understanding your audience and telling them a story are probably two of the most important parts of doing a pitch in today's nowadays. So there's 6 types of stories. Has anybody got any ideas on what types of stories we can tell? Fred?
Just got to get my mute off. What kind of stories can you tell?
There are 6 types of stories. Can you tell me what some of them are?
Expository stories that tell people stuff they don't know, I guess. or horror stories, stories that incite joy, a story that inform people, I guess. I don't know, I'm just...
Okay, we're going to pull it back from putting you on the spot for that one. There are 6 types of stories. It's the rags to riches story. You start off low and you get up high. There's the riches to rags, the fall from grace. There's the person in the hole. You fall and then you rise out of the hole. There's the Icarus, the rise and then the fall. There's the Cinderella story, where you rise, you fall, and you rise again. Do you see a pattern here? And there's Oedipus, the fall, the rise, and then the fall again. So it's all a matter of
rise and fall, always common, right?
Exactly. There's always a rise and a fall effort. And when you're telling stories is one thing, but when you want to inspire somebody to know something about you, which of the 3 of those stories would be the most helpful?
So I think we are progressing. So maybe rags to riches will be one,
okay.
Definitely. So
Absolutely.
I'm just thinking here. So people always want to like proceed, like go up in life, do more. So if from that perspective, it should always be the ones where the curve ends at a high point.
Exactly. That is exactly it. The rags to riches, the person in the hole, and the Cinderella story.
Yeah.
Those are 3 of the most important stories to tell, to be able to get somebody involved in what your pitch is going to be. Now, to develop a full story, and this is for people who write, this is where you were going before, Fred. There's the exposition, the inciting incident, the rising action, the crisis, the climax, the denouncement. You can't do all of that in 1 minute. So we need to find a way to simplify this to make sure that you can put it together within 1 minute and still tell that rise and fall story. So how do we simplify it? Well, we should make it entertaining, first off. We should have a hook to it. And we should tell what is the client's problem, what is their frustration, what is the tool or action to resolve the problem, and where is the client afterwards once their problem has been solved. Those 4 key elements, which you can actually cram into 3 supporting points, allow you to tell that story within 1 minute. So how do we do this so quickly? I'd like a little bit of guidance from you to say, how would you put together those 3 elements so quickly? Margaret A.
Don't pick on me. Okay, so frustrating. So I'm usually trying to figure out maybe a pain point that somebody has. So like for what I do, maybe they don't know anybody. I need to connect them. I need to introduce them to friends. I need to show them how to have fun. Would that be the frustration?
So that is one way to do it.
Easy access. Then I would be demonstrating in the end how that would make them feel and how coming together. I don't know. Yeah, I know it's going to probably end up like they're the hero of the story. Help me out.
The best way that we can do this is actually, why is it not letting me get to text? Text. There we go. Nope. All right, I'm going to have to do this drawing then. You've got your topic.
Yeah, your share screen's on now. Try again.
I'm sharing this with you. Can you see it?
Black screen only.
Oh, let me see. Let's try this. Whiteboard, share.
You're on, you're live.
I can see that. Excellent. Okay, text. Good. So let's undo all of that. There we go, and now I can do text. We use what is called, oh my God, if I can spell, a diamond method, where you have your main topic, your 3 supporting points, number 1, number 2, and number 3, and your conclusion. What does this look like? Has anybody seen this kind of device before? Andrew?
Looks like a diamond. No, I've not seen anything like this.
No, I haven't seen it myself either.
This is actually how you write an essay. And you can break down each of these 1, 2, 3s, and 4s into more 1, 2, 3s, and 4s, and keep splitting them out or condensing them depending on how much time you have or how large you need it to go. It's really a very functional system to be able to go through this in 1 minute. So we're actually going to do this in practice here today. We're going to take one of you, and we're going to go through this. So I'd like a volunteer of who would like to go through this. FN? All right. So let's clear all drawings. And I'm going to stop sharing. All right, FN. I want you to put together a piece of paper and write.
Now you're telling me, okay. Honestly, don't have.
You can do it on the computer if you want to just type it out, but.
I have a pen and a paper.
Okay, first thing, what is the most important thing about the pitch?
Knowing the customer.
Exactly. You have a few customers already. Who are they? Can you personalize in your head who these people are and tell me a bit about them?
So they're typically agencies, creative agencies, digital agencies based in North America.
Okay, so
Yeah,
North American agencies. Are they men and women, both?
Yeah, but unfortunately, still mostly men.
Okay.
I would like that to change, but it's mostly men, yes.
Okay, so still mostly men, but some women.
Yeah.
And what is their defining attribute that you can kind of put around all of them? Are they driven? Are they...
Yeah, all of them are entrepreneurs. I generally tend to pitch or discuss mostly with the entrepreneurs or the owners themselves, who have kind of similar attributes like driven. They know what they're doing to an extent. They want to achieve something higher. So, they also have pain points, common pain points. So, yeah.
And what are some of their common pain points?
So it depends like from what perspective, right? So it might be human resources. So I think the most I see is they have a lot of good skill sets in them, but they don't always have like the whole service, proposal or portfolio. So sometimes they have to either hire new people in their own location, or then outsource it somewhere else. So that is, I've seen this continuously. Very few companies have everything under one roof, but customers nowadays tend to want to come to one person, just like the mobile handset, that it has so many functions, right? It's a camera, and it's a music record. So many things that we used to use is now one device. Similarly, customers also want to come to one agency. So that's when they kind of fail, and they want. So that's one of their key pain points. They want to increase their skill set.
All right. So let's take the topic then of your company and the pain point. So the entrepreneur. The first part is the entrepreneur's rise, because we're going to use the Cinderella story to tell them. My love, can you turn that off, please? So the fun of working at home, it's always an adventure. So we're going to use the Cinderella story, the rise, the fall, and the rise again. The entrepreneur starts out, and he's doing pretty good. He's starting to get some clients, and he knows a little bit about what he's doing, and he's moving up. right? So that is point number one, the rise. But he hits a point, or she hits a point, where they can't do it all. And when they can't do it all, what happens to a company usually? They fall because they fall a little bit because they don't know what they're doing with maybe a CRM system, or maybe they don't realize how to do full marketing, or they don't have a complete understanding of their customer base. And that fall starts to happen. They start to taper off. Well, what happens if they keep tapering off? And well, they need to learn. Now they need to learn everything that they need to do about each of these things. Or they need to hire a new person, but maybe they don't have the funds to hire a new person on staff for them. Okay, so we've got that fall that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
When out of the blue, one of those entrepreneurs goes, hey, I know a fan. I know his agency and what it does. Let's get them to do this one subject that they do really well, or a combination of different things to help us get to the next stage of where we can make some money and then hire a person.
Yep.
That little gap there is that fall and that realization of what I need. At which point they start working with you. And then what happens when they work with you, Afan?
They rise again.
They rise again and they blossom. But where's your customer going to be after they're done working, or after they've solved their situation?
They should be at a high, but just like the Cinderella story, they also come down again because there is another pain point that comes later. So
Well,
life is never
that's later on. So let's just do one flow.
Yeah. So high. Yeah. Of course, they go to a higher place. Yes.
Okay, but describe me. What are they actually doing? Tell me a story of who they are and
So
where
they are
they're
successful now. So they are making more money. They are more happier. They have a larger team. They have more customers. They now know more things because they have interacted with my team. So yeah, I would say those things. Yeah.
So in 5 minutes here, we put together a whole story arc. Now, the next thing you need to do is you take that story arc and you just write it out. You quickly write out the quick points of, one, I'm going to tell you a story. The story is about how my company can help you. Here you are. You're doing great, but you hit a point where you can't learn everything all at once, and it starts hitting you and affecting your performance. Great. Here's where you think maybe we can help. We jump in and we help you with this. You start earning more money and you start rising up. Now you take that quick summary that I've just given you and you flush it out with a story that entices with entertaining words. And you develop that, and then you tell it by practicing it with people around you. So now you practice that story until you get to the point of where that story is now inherent in what you're saying, and it becomes a part of who you are. And now, at any moment when somebody asks you, Afan, what do you guys do? Well, let me tell you a story.
Sounds good.
How is that?
Yeah.
You think you can
I've
do
not
that?
tried this. Yeah, I've never tried. I mean, I do it in different ways, but I never thought of it like this. Like I would maybe in a conversation say, hey, I know someone like you. So that's also a story, right? So I would say, so let's say I'm speaking to Bernie. I would say, hey, Bernie, I know someone like you. It's Margaret Ann. She's a good friend. And, I think she also had something similar to you. And then we jumped in and now she's doing better. So it is like a story, but I've never really really chalked it out in a planned way to make a story,
Exactly. And the problem is when you don't chuck it out and when you don't write it down and when you don't practice it, it becomes too condensed.
Right.
You have a problem. I know a person like you. Here's how we helped them. Now they're doing this well. That might work with a person who is completely just give me the facts. So it depends on the customer, right? It depends on who you're talking to. But the majority of people prefer a little bit more details of how you helped them, how their troubles were showcasing, and that moment that they realized, I need help. What does that look like? And that story, when you flush that out into that longer duration, you can get a better, more fleshed out story within that 1 minute. Now,
Sounds good.
Bobby, I know you already have a story. Do you not?
You know something? I love what you're exposing here, because I've always thought you've got to get to the point pretty quickly, but you have to add some luster to it.
Mm-hmm.
Just your 3 points in the diamond, I was thinking my 3 points are quality, taste, value. And then I can illustrate those particular points. You know, why would you say your coffee has got quality? You know, what's the history of that? The taste part, you and I have talked about this. That's something as well I can talk about. And also the value, you know, this local company, we can do it for less than what you'd have to pay for a Starbucks, that sort of thing. So that's the 3 points, QTV I call it, quality, taste, value.
Now, how would you tell that in an entertaining way?
You know, I've spoken in front of a lot of people. That takes longer than a minute. If you want to do it, for me anyways, to entertain. But it's kind of, I mean, I love the point, the audience. Who is your audience? You know, if you've got, if I'm talking to roasters, it's a different audience than I'm talking to the general public.
Absolutely.
People who love coffee. You know, I've tried to do it in a fun way, just my illustrations. I just put something on the chat, something recently that we just did, you know, for fun, right? Follow Bobby the Coffee Guy, that sort of thing. To entertain, I mean, I've got stories, but the stories take a little time. Like I've had people.
So tell me.
Okay,
tell me
I'll tell you one story. So in Washington, D.C., I was training salespeople. Company came to me and said, listen, we're merging with another company. Can you train some of their salespeople? I said, fine. The top sales guy came out and he says, train the top sales guy, because if you succeed with him, then the others will just follow. So I said, fine. So I went for breakfast with this top sales guy. And he said to me blankly, he said, Bob, I've heard your story. You know something? I'm a successful salespeople. I really don't need your help. And I says, you know, that's fine. I said, I understand. I says, it's good you're successful. I appreciate it. But why don't you just follow me one morning and we'll just see if this works for you or not. So I go in to an account, and my methodology of walking in cold to a sales account, I love walking in cold. Usually what I'll do is I'll carry the coffee with me and I'll just say, hey, this morning we're giving out some coffee. We just want you to try it. Tell us what you think. It's something new. When you say it's something new, it changes their thinking. They've never heard of it before. They've never seen it before. So it's interesting to them, something new. So I walked into this law firm. Lady was in her mid-60s, bifocals on, looked at her, she looked at me, and I said, you know something, we're having some fun today. We would like you to try some of our new coffee. And she looks at me and said, one moment. She got her manager to come out to the front desk, and she's about the same age, and I'm thinking, I'm done. You know, they have no real interest, right? So I just said, hey, listen, we're having some fun today. We just want you guys to try some new coffee that we're introducing. She said, come back to the kitchen. So fine, we got into the kitchen, and that's typically where we sell. So we're in the kitchen, I'm brewing up the coffee for them and all that sort of thing. Anyways, the company I was working with is a office supply company. So they have, their main business is office supplies. They do $100 million in office supplies, and coffee is about 10% of their business. So the sales guy I'm working with is mostly trained for office supplies, not coffee. So I told him before, I says, what we're going to do is we're going to focus just on the one thing, coffee, and we'll see where the office supply goes. So anyways, we're in the kitchen with the general manager and brewing up the coffee. And I just happened to say, you know, we also sell office supplies. So the lady said to me, oh, really? So come and take a look at our office supplies. Well, when you take a sales guy into their storeroom, it's like the Mecca, because now he's able to see all the competitors. So I said to the manager, I said, listen, I would like to give you a quote on everything that you're buying right now. And I know very well they don't have a list of products, but what they do have is they have a receipt from the company that they're buying from, the order list. So she came back a few minutes later with a complete order list and all the prices of what she's paying. So I give this to the sales guy that I'm with. And at the end of the day, we got the account, we walked out. I mean, this is just cold calling. This is just walking in. This is all taking place in about a half an hour. So we walk out, and I said to the sales guy, I said, what do you think of that method? Do you think it works? I rest my case. So to me, it's all about something new that people are not familiar with. Like if I tried to sell Folgers coffee or Keurig or Green Mountain or whatever, everybody's heard of that, right? But if you've got something that people haven't heard of, that they're curious, you know, what is it? You know, not everyone's going to love it, but at least they're curious about wanting it. So there's just a brief story. I have many stories.
Okay, so that story had 3 different elements within it, of me teaching the salesperson,
yep,
of me doing an initial cold call, and of me doing, or of a, this is going to have a negative connotation, and I apologize, I don't mean it in that way, but okay, the swap. Yep. Like the coffee is the enticement for the office supplies, right, in the end. Okay? So you've got 3 different stories that are going on there, and you're weaving 3 different stories through the rise and the fall. The full story is how you showed the sales guy how it's done.
Right.
And then the coffee aspect to it is its own separate story of, you could easily cut that out and use just that one simple story of like, you know what? There was this time we went into this company and we said, hey, we got something new to show you. Now, I thought I was done because the lady just said, let me get my manager. At which point, now you've just caught on to somebody going, what's going to happen next? Because that's your downfall. That's your possible downfall. At which point she went, come back to the coffee room. Let's go. And then you show her this and they go, wow, that's really good. We'd like your coffee. We've now just clipped off 2 ends of the story, cut the story to the essence of what you need for the audience of selling coffee, and you've saved yourself probably about, I'd say, 7 minutes on either end.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Now, the full story, I loved the full story. Don't get me wrong. Right. The full story was really good, but it depends on who your audience is for that full story. If you're going to the salesperson, absolutely, that full story is necessary. If you're going to the coffee people, that coffee part is essential. Right. And if you're going to the office supply of how to showcase one thing but then sell more, absolutely, that second part integrates within. So it depends on the audience.
Right.
Who should I pick on next? Margaret Ann.
Don't pick on me.
Who's your client? Who are your clients? What does your customer look like?
Small business people.
Okay, small business people.
Your business is my business.
We have room for everybody. There is room for everybody.
But again, yeah. So today I will say small business people, but often whenever I'm approaching people, I always consider my audience and who I'm talking to see what's relevant.
So let's simplify that a little bit. How about people who are just starting a business?
Okay.
Let's simplify that. So they are people who have just started and they've got a concept, an idea in their mind, and they want to create a business. What are their pain points?
What are their pain points? Well, they've got a great idea, but that's what it is right now as an idea. If they've never been a business owner, they just know that this is really cool and this is going to be exciting, but they don't know where to start. So the pain point is, how do I get, I don't know, who do I talk to get a website? Who do I talk to? The pain point is everything to get started in the business. How do I make a business plan? Where do I get money for investing to help me get my business started?
And what is Connect Ottawa? What is one of the aspects that we're looking at in the future to help?
This, to help, to have the tools accessible so people can come there to learn more, and we're able to share the right person for the right job and or get them started, which is one of the projects Denny and I were talking about. Help people get started so we can put it onto paper. It's no longer just an idea.
So Jane comes off the street and she's like, you know what? I really want to start out my daisy chain flower shop, but I don't know what to do. I don't know how to start this off with. She meets Margaret Ann. Well, you know what? Actually, Connect Ottawa has got a few resources that you might want to look into, at which point, here, why don't you try our new business person program? And the new business person program shows you how to set up a website, how to set up a CRM, and how to start engaging with your customers. Just very simple, very start. And it's 3 little modules that you've got to learn. And once you've learned those, you can get yourself started. After that, we've got a group of people that you can talk to to learn more about how your business is growing. And then next thing you know, within a couple of years, your flower shop is blooming. You've got customers coming in and out, and you're part of a wider community. How does that sound?
Amazing.
And I did that all off the top of my head within 1 minute.
Yeah. And you know, and it's so true. And even just the fact, just when you were saying that, I was just thinking, and the fact of having a community of people around you that will support you, that gets you. You know, I think that that's a pain point also with a lot of people starting out. They're afraid because their family will say they're all, are you nuts? What are you thinking of? So they need a support group that go, no, it's okay.
And you know what? You could actually build that right into that beginning of that downfall of, like, you know, people coming up to them going, are you crazy? This won't work. We've got too many flower shops already. What's going on with it? Stop those thoughts. Come see us.
Cool. Very nice the way you do that.
I'd like to thank you all so much for participating in this. This is pretty much what it is to do the 1 minute pitch. You create your story, you put it into the diamond shaped 3 pillars. You pick the rise and the fall, or sorry, the fall and the rise, the straight rise, or the Cinderella story. And you understand your customer, their pain points, and you help them get out of their rut by showing them that this tool or you or what you do helps them get out and where they can go in the future. Thank you so much. Are there any questions?
Oh, here we go. Fan has a question. Oh, you're on mute, fan.
It's not necessary that we actually know who we are talking to. Like, I mean, to figure out, like, I know who I'm talking to, but you know, in terms of more the pain points and everything, you might be, imagine you might be in a networking event and it's just 5 minutes down the line. You don't really know a lot about that person. So should we like wait more to know more about that person to come up with that pitch? Because that also is time sensitive, because that person might just move to the next person, right? So what do we do in those kind of situations where we don't necessarily have that most important information about who this client is, or is it a potential client at all?
Okay, so that's an entirely different topic, but I can help you with that. If you can listen for 3 minutes to a person talk, you will be able to tell a lot about them. One of the things is, do they talk quickly? Do they use fancy words? Do they talk with a story? Like, do they describe things? And each of these bits and pieces of how they talk will give you an idea of how to talk to them. So if somebody is matter of fact, this is what I do, this is how I do it, this is how it gets done. Well, they're usually a dominant personality in the sense that they need the information, they need it quickly, and they need it now. So just cut the fluff and tell them exactly who you are, how you can help, and what they will look like after you're done helping. Don't give any more fluff to it. But if it's a creative individual and you want to they want to hear the story, like they tell a story of who they are and how they work, well, then they want more from you. They want a little bit of detail. They want interesting information to allow their creativity to be inspired and to want to be a part of who you are and what you're doing. Does that help answer the question?
Yeah.
Can I add something to that too?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, because I ran a business network for so long, I think even audience sometimes is even more predefined. Like if you're going to a business networking event where you've got 20 people at a table, the whole point of your 1 minute pitch is to share what your business is, how you can help. Like this 1 minute pitch, but it might be a little different than maybe talking to somebody that isn't in business. I used to decide, like, am I talking to somebody that doesn't, they just want to know that the coffee's great. Here's a pack, take it home and try it. I'll give you a call tomorrow and see how it is. But if you're going in to talk to a business, then you're probably going to try a little bit different approach because it's a different person you're talking to. And I think how many people you're talking to. And we're kind of talking earlier, Denny and I, like briefly, because I used to do something like this too. It's like you have your 1 minute pitch, but your pitch can actually turn into a 10-minute conversation as well. So I used to say, have a 1 minute pitch, but turn that into the 10-minute, and then you're always prepared for a presentation wherever you go. So if somebody says off the fly, is there any way today you could get up and talk? Like you just got that, it's already pre-made. It's one of your signature 10-minute speaking engagements that you've always able to pull out of your back pocket.
And honestly, if you do not have, like if you literally just meet this person and you do not have the ability to figure out who they are first, go with the story. Because it's been shown in studies that 80 to 85% of us are story driven and like stories. So therefore, go with the odds, tell your 1 minute story, and see what the effect is afterwards. There's a 15% chance it might fail, but at the same time, there's an 85% chance that you got it.
Yeah.
Can I give you one more little quick story that I had?
Go ahead.
Just a quick one.
Okay, quick. It has to be under a minute.
So Washington, D.C. Do you know J. Gordon Liddy? Heard that name? He was, he was big on the Watergate.
Yep.
Anyways, I went to a radio station to show coffee at the same time that Gordon Liddy was on the radio. So I was just outside his studio, didn't know what was happening. Went in, general manager said to me, listen, thank you for the coffee. He says, Gordon Liddy just asked if you've got some time to talk about coffee because his guests didn't show up. And This is on the fly. This is real.
Perfect. Yeah.
Went into the studio, sat down for a half an hour with Jay Gordon Liddy, over 700 radio stations in the US. Now, the guy that I was working, the salesperson I was training, he went out to the car to get more coffee. When he comes back in, he doesn't know where I am. The manager says, look into the studio. And there I am with Jay Gordon Liddy.
That's awesome.
There you go. Was that less than a minute or just about?
No, that's good. That's a great story. See, always prepared, eh, Bobby?
That's it. Oh, don't worry, I got thousands of them.
But stories entertain us. It just goes to prove that everybody, when you tell a story, people listen.
Right.
Because they want to know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like even now, I think all of us were waiting what would have happened at the end, right? Like, were you actually going in the studio, or did he do something stupid, or what happened? So I think it's and I'll remember it at least for a few weeks or a few months. Next time I see you, I think maybe this is the story that will pop in my mind first.
You'll think Nixon.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So he used some important words also, right? So I think that's also important, maybe. Yeah.
Are there any other questions about it?
Okay, Denny. Well, thank you very much. That was awesome. I know that I learned, it's got me thinking. I'm going back and listen to the recording.